Hi, Thursday update on the Phantoms. This one is very close to finished, but I will get to that shortly. So, I said I was going to do the two crewmen with a dark olive green. And I ended up with too much black while I was spraying that bit on that Phantom. So I decided to just go ahead and do these black and then do the dry brushing. So you can see you get very nice detail. Let's just see if I can get focus here. Very nice detail. It's not finished, obviously. This was just a sort of an initial dry brushing just to see what we've got. But you can see, and I'm sort of okay with having done it black just for the purposes of showing you, because now I'm going to respray it anyway. So if I had done dark olive or sort of a dark green and then a dry brushing of a white and a bit of a light green, or even skip the white, light grey, light green, this would be very, very close to sort of halfway painted. So there are times when a black base coat is very handy. I rather almost call it a shadow coat, because in this case it's not intended to be a base. It is intended to be the recess for all shadows. So anyway, that's just to show you, and then we'll compare when I've done them in the greens. The visor, by the way, it already looks so close to good just in plain black, but when I do it properly I will do it, so I'll mask that. I actually want to keep that black. I'll keep the whole helmet covered when I spray the green, because that visor, all that visor needs is a slight hint of a clear green and a gloss, just to give that sort of a reflection effect. So that's that. Right, so I have finished all of the decals. I've put the tailpipes on. I've done a bit of weathering on that. It's very subtle on that rear titanium and stainless section, and the tailpipes are on. Looks very, sort of complete. I'm not entirely happy with the decals, because as you can see, for instance, here and on that tail one, there's sort of a white sheen, which means the carrier film isn't as clear as it could have been. And this blue, I think the nature of this blue is that anything that blocks the vision onto that blue looks like not perfect. Alternatively, that decal is also sort of not as clear as it could be. That one on the side looks better. Some of them look better than others, but that tail one really shines out as being pretty white. The same process was used on all of them. A little bit of decal set for what it's worth, because when you put it onto here, it doesn't lie flat anyway. It forms little blobs because the surface is so shiny. But as you put down the decal, it at least would help soften the decal a little bit and help it seat itself for what it's worth. The decals appear to have adhered very nicely. It's good glue. They're on little, I think both of these long side ones, these ones down the sides did crack, at least on one point, but being careful, I've managed to put them in position in such a way that you can't see anything. All in all, still a little bit to do. I've still got to fix up a little bit of that bleed there. You see where the gold bled into the blue. Little bit of fixing up. Horizontal stabilizers have got to go on, and that means I need to address that question of that tiny little mounting hole, which you know, I'd like to have this model a little bit more robust than you know, it's on, but you really can't touch it. The slightest bump and it's off. But anyway, then it'll be going onto the wall. Very nice. Now, oh, I did forget to mention, or at least reaffirm, this one is a different kit than the other two in that it's got the recessed panel lines. Wouldn't mind getting that one again. Very, very nice. Although by the time I'm finished all of these phantoms, I will be a bit phantomed out. Okay, this one is number 3, and that one gets the undercarriage down, so I've been masking and painting. So the white is done, but not the edges. So the very edges of all of that need to also be done red. A little bit tedious, just got to be very careful. That part is all fine. And as you can see in that reflection, I've got a sort of a nice satin finish. I haven't done weathering inside there yet. I'll do a subtle weathering. I did spray while I had the primer out, which is satin 129 for me. I sprayed this ridgeline. Now, do you notice how almost invisible that is now? This plastic is virtually satin 129, Humbrol 129. So the Humbrol satin 129 is a very, very nice primer coat for this color of plastic. On the other hand, what I wanted to point out is that while you have something of different color, the satin 129 is nice. But if you wanted something where you can actually see where you've sprayed, then you want to use a slightly different tone than the plastic colors. But anyway, it's coming on very nicely. If you see, I've oversprayed a little bit of spray there, and there's a little bit. Those are very easy to get off. I'll get that off easily. What I do is take a little piece of tissue, just touch it onto a bit of turpentine. It really mustn't be wet. It must almost just have the vapors of turpentine. You just rub a little bit and then that's off. The turpentine can affect your plastic pretty fast, depending on the nature of the turpentine. And I know mine does. So just those vapors and you clean that off and it's quite good. Oh, there's a bit more. Anyway, coming on quite nicely. I do like that look. The contrast of the red, even though it's mostly covered by the air brakes, even in the down position, but it'll look pretty nice when done. Those also need the edges to be red, so I guess one of the next tasks, apart from the weapons and pylons, is my red edgings. I've started on the undercarriage a little bit, so you know, I've mentioned in some of the videos that I did that undercarriage and cockpits are a real nuisance. That's apart from canopy masking. Canopy masking is just really annoying. But undercarriage and cockpits slows you down quite a lot. And some of you correctly said, you know, well, try and fit it a bit earlier in the process, which I am doing in this case, and it's not a big deal. It may not be the most exciting of jobs. Oh, I wanted to show this as well. So in those little holes, those little slots, they actually run right through. So I put little pieces of blue tack in there. That's after the red was sprayed, because otherwise you will get spray running through back. If I'd only masked horizontally, when you spray there, it'll go through those little holes and you'll get white spray there. So just make sure you do mask in all of the areas. I also did put a little bit of blue tack onto the undercarriage mounting hole. In this case, I put it only onto the one. I didn't go and cover that hole there, because that'll probably get done with a little dot of super glue. But try and cover your glue holes, because otherwise you're sort of reducing yourself to having to use super glue. I do like that satin. That is quite a good finish, and I really should have done that with the blue. Okay, now I mentioned about the Mustang, which when I sprayed got that bit of dusting in it. Now when I spray the Phantoms, although the cockpit is a lot more shielded, I did mention that I'm not going to put the canopies on. I'll rather try and mask and do the canopies separate, and that way be sure that I've got an absolutely clean canopy. I mean, this one didn't collect anything, which is slightly surprising, because there are places where a little bit of blue, maybe it's because the blue is dark, but still there's nothing worse than getting to that point in your model and it's got a bit of overspray dusting into the canopy. Oh, I put this front piece on, as you saw now. I put that on even though I haven't found that other piece that goes underneath. I just put it on with a little bit of clear Humbrol clear fix, and I can easily just take that off when I eventually find that piece, which may be in months or years or who knows. Yes, and probably the second one, so this is the third one, probably the second one will get the name Roswell on the side for my Roswell, my supposed Roswell Phantom, just to sort of highlight the fact that that's become the home of the air races, which is pretty cool. Tonight, cleaning of weapons, cleaning of pylons. That is not an exciting task either, but you just get it done, and then I'll drill small holes into them and put them onto the edge of a toothpick or something like that, just to be able to hold them to spray, or do a bit of stretched sprue and glue them onto the thinnest part here. It's quite easy to get them nicely mounted. Anyway, all things going well there. So this one, even with those blank offs in the intake, it's not something you have to really look down the intakes to notice those blank offs. So even though it's not the nicest of scale areas on the thing, you hardly notice it. Okay, till the next update, happy modeling. Cheers.